Good afternoon and welcome to Across the Arts. I'm your host, Patrick D. McCoy, and I'm so delighted that you are here today to join me as we celebrate the legacy of legendary contralto Marian Anderson, whose birthday is today. This afternoon, we are joined by the president and CEO of the Marian Anderson Museum and Historical Society, Miss Jillian Patricia Pirtle. We're going to talk together today as we lead up to a week-long week of celebratory events leading up to the Gala celebration of the museum's reopening. Good afternoon, Jillian.
Good afternoon, Mr. McCoy. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad that you are here today as we celebrate the birthday of Marian Anderson on her birthday.
It is such a blessing to acknowledge and honor our great Marian Anderson's life, everything that she achieved, her contributions. And what is even more spectacular is that not just the achievement of having the voice of the century, but what she did with that voice on and off stage that moved mountains, that created movements of change, and that change not only the face of the nation but also the world. So this is a wonderful day. It's a blessed day, and I'm so glad that we're able, as artists, as people of color, as Americans, to celebrate her great birthday.
Oh my goodness, she was such a trailblazer. My goodness. Every time I think about Marian Anderson, I think about the Lincoln Memorial and that famous Easter Sunday performance and just, the doors that she kicked open for singers of color so that we could sing not only on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, but we could sing at, the Metropolitan Opera and, all over the world, classical music because of her. Talk to me about, as I mentioned, this is a celebratory week. We're in the midst of a week of many events leading up to the reopening gala of the Marian Anderson Museum and Historical Society. But talk to me about the museum itself. Talk to me about the museum there on Martin Street.
Absolutely. This National Historical Landmark and Museum was Marian Anderson's home, the thing that she dearly treasured. And it was built in 1857. Marian Anderson purchased this property from an elderly Italian couple in 1924 for the sum of $4,000 in cash. And that was an extraordinary sum in 1924. But Marian Anderson had raised that money by going through the United States midway with a tour with her then accompanist, manager, and arranger, Mr. William Billy King. And although Marian and her mother and her sisters had been staying and living with Marian Anderson's grandmother, Isabella, and her grandfather, Benjamin Anderson, after Marian Anderson's father's untimely death, her mother and sisters, and she moved in with her grandparents, she really felt as the eldest child that they should have a home of their own. And she wanted her mother to be able to have a home of their own. So when she was able to raise enough money to afford it, they moved from 16th and Fitzwater down the street here to Martin Street, 762 South Martin Street, which is in between 19th and 20th and Fitzwater. And she was overjoyed. She was so glad that this was the home that they could call their own. And although even in the beginning, they didn't have a lot, they didn't have a lot of furniture, they didn't have a lot of everything, they had to, over time, purchase and acquire those things. Just the fact that she said her mother had her own space, that her sisters could stretch out and she could have her own space, and even a place where she could sing her music without disturbing anyone. That was such a blessing. So when you walk these hallowed halls and you look around at everything that we are bringing back to bear with her brand new exhibit, Marian the Philadelphia Story, you just get such a sense of her presence. You feel her spirit here. And I tell you, When we reopen those doors, Patrick, if we can get just one person to walk in and say, I feel Marian Anderson's spirit in the place, we will have done our job.
That is beautiful. And let me tell you something. I think it was around 2011. I had the amazing opportunity to visit the Marian Anderson Museum with members of the Ben Hope Memorial Branch of the National Association of Negro Musicians here in DC. And I'm going to tell you, it was a beautiful occasion. I remember being in that beautiful home and seeing the big, lofty portrait of Miss Anderson on the wall. But I would say the most memorable thing for me, as you know, is being able to visit and chat with the late great lady Blanche Burton Lyles, who she sat down and she played the Rachmaninoff piece, The Bells, for us at the piano. And she really made that grand piano singing. I remember just being in her presence. But for those who don't know, talk about Miss Blanche and her historical importance as far as Curtis and just being a student of the piano.
Before Blanche Henrietta Burton Lyles, our beloved late founder, Lady Blanche Burton Lyles, was even a student of the famed Curtis Institute of Music, which, if you ask me and many others who wrote about it at the time, she made it famed. Okay, but we'll take it there later. But she was a student of music from the age of 3 because Lady Blanche Burton Lyle's mother, Anna Blanche Burton, was a professional piano teacher here in Philadelphia. And she taught and trained many of the young artists coming along. And she was the first teacher of Lady Blanche Burton Lyles, and she was extremely strict. So by the time Lady Blanche Burton Lyles got into the Curtis Institute for Music under the recommendation of Marian Anderson, she was happy to be there because and study under Madame Wagner because her mother was something else 10 times that. But the friendship that had developed between Anna Blanche Burton, Blanche Burton Lyle's mother, and Marian Anderson was strong, and it was early on because she knew her from the womb. Because Anna Blanche Burton played the organ at the historic Union Baptist Church, and she played the organ for Marian Anderson. So Marian Anderson knew Blanche Henrietta Burton Lyles before Blanche Burton Lyles knew herself. So it is a wonderful connection, a friendship, a family. And at the age of 3, she was known as the child protege. She could play classic piano and all of those wonderful classic artists. And she played them here in Marian Anderson's home on the piano. And oftentimes, Marian Anderson would have her wonderful and remarkable friends and colleagues come and dine, have banquets, and have wonderful musical performances because even in Philadelphia during the era of Jim Crow and segregation, African Americans couldn't go to open table seating at the restaurants in Philadelphia. They couldn't have lodging and staying at the hotels and all of that. So after they finished their performances at the Academy of Music, the Schubert Theater, the Royal Theater, Music Fund Hall, and others, Marian Anderson invited her dear friends, to this home. So we are talking about people like Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong and Lena Horne and Ella Fitzgerald and all these people who Lady Blanche Burton Lyles had the opportunity to be around, be in their presence, and perform for them, play on the piano. And it's just, I don't know any other human who had that type of interaction and experience the way our great Marian Anderson did, and the way Lady Blanche Burton Lyles did by being in that space, that place, and absorbing all of that. And Patrick, just to say this, what's remarkable about that, some individuals would take that experience, that gift, that once in a lifetime feeling of a situation, and they would run with it, and they would never feel the need or the responsibility to give back as it was to them. But that's not what Lady Blanche Burton Lyles did. When she became a great smashing success, in the United States and abroad. And she continued her concerting and performance career and tours, and she became a professor. She gave back, and she didn't forget about what her beloved mentor did for her to jumpstart her career, make her a historic figure and name as an African American, as a performing artist. So she decided that when Marian Anderson passed away, she would do something remarkable to try to make sure that that name of Marian Anderson would be remembered forever, which is why she took her savings and she purchased Marian Anderson's home, and she began the process of turning it into a local, state, and national historical landmark. And I think that that is truly something incredible that hardly few people in the United States have done. And more than that, she reinvigorated the Marian Anderson Scholar Artist Program that Marian Anderson herself began after she won the Philadelphia Bach Award. And so many beautiful, wonderful, incredible artists and vocalists have come through that program, and the help and the support of Lady Blanche Burton Lyles. And all of that is a part of this story as well. The museum doesn't have its legs without that part too. And it's so very important because it's the programming we continue with today, along with the thematic tours that we give about Marian Anderson's life. So that's truly amazing, and it's truly remarkable. And I'm so grateful that even through tragedy, we have been able to stand and try to keep the promise, keep the word, and move forth to get the beautiful National Historical Landmark restored and keep the programming going.
Oh, thank you. Listen, you just said, so I want to go back a little bit because you made a point that one of my friends always corrects me about when you mentioned the fact that basically, a lot of times when people go to an institution, they give the credit to the institution for making the person, but in fact you're the person that really make the institution, and such is the case here that we're talking about. Lady Blanche, she was already, her mother was her first music teacher, and she already had a gift before she went to the institution. So I think that's something to really to highlight. Thank you for making that point. Listen, this week I know we are talking about the museum, but we have a great reason, and you just mentioned the whole aspect of tragedy. Talk about the damage that was done that the museum suffered, and how we're now on this celebratory road of jubilation as it reopens.
Absolutely. During the height of the pandemic, we suffered a horrible flood disaster where 3.5 feet of water almost decimated the National Historical Landmark in Marian Anderson's home. From the exterior to the interior, you had such severe damage. During that time, we had the exhibit Marian, the Music and the Movement. And when I tell you, in these flood waters of 3.5 feet, you could see her her artifacts floating in this flood water. It was so heartbreaking. And not knowing where the help was going to come from, how we were going to be able to get her artifacts restored, all the gowns, the photos, the albums, the letters, all of those things, and try to get her structure stabilized so the building could be as it was when she purchased it in 1924. That's a very hard thing to do, and an amazing feat, and extraordinarily expensive. But because of wonderful people like you, Patrick, because of the dedication and the support of those who cared enough to want to make sure that Marian Anderson's space was restored, we have been able to get the resource and supply to get us to this point. And we are so grateful for our representatives in the political arena who represent the district that Marian Anderson's home is in the museum, for their help, their aid, their support and grants so that we could move forward to this step. And you know, I there were many times that I didn't know if and or when, but I always tried to hold on to the hope and the promise that I made to Lady Blanche Burton Lyles before she closed her eyes for the last time, that I would make sure that this historical landmark that she worked so hard for, that we've been a part of as program recipients and participants, that all of this would go on for generations to come. And that's the hope in Christ, and then the hope and promise that I've tried to hold on to for all of this. And it has gotten us to this point where we're at the historic reopening, where we will be opening the brand new exhibit, Marian, the Philadelphia Story, which tells such a comprehensive, such a powerful and emotional story of her life from the lens of the great city of Philadelphia that she beloved, her home. Marian Anderson traveled everywhere. She had several homes in different places over her lifetime as one of the highest paid the highest paid African American artists once we had gotten to 1938. But Martin Street 762 was always her home. And from the time that she purchased it to the time she died, it was always her home, her first home. Everything else was a second home. And I'm so grateful we get to celebrate that. I'm so grateful that those who have never been here before get to see this beautiful space and sacred place. I'm so grateful that those who have been here before get to see the new exhibit, because it's not the same exhibit that you've seen before. You know, I don't like when people visit places and then you go out with them and they're like, oh, I've seen that before. No, you haven't. Not at the Marian Anderson Museum, because it's going to always be a new exhibit. It's always going to be changing. And Marian Anderson was such a rich, cultured, cultivated, deep, intrinsic person. You will never know all of these things because we have such content. We can keep creating new exhibits of her life and meaning for generations to come. And that's the wonderful thing about it. So I'm glad of that. And I'm glad we get to celebrate with this gala celebration, because it's an opportunity for us to reflect, to give honor to Marian Anderson for all she has given us, to pay homage to Lady Blanche Burton Lyles for doing this. Because if it were not for her and for any of this, we wouldn't be here today or have any of this. And to also look forward to the vision of how we continue to preserve this national historical landmark and sacred space and place, and support artists going forward in their life and career. We have such a robust scholar artist program from ages 18 and up. And we don't like to cap the up, because nobody capped the up for Marian. She didn't cap the up for anybody. She knew that even though you can have such a beautiful talent when you're a child and young, that will continue to develop and develop over the years, and you still need support. So the Scholar Artist Program, it goes on and on. There is no, cutoff there. And then we have the Arts Empowerment Program for children ages 4 to 18, to get them ready to fall in love with music and the arts. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm very grateful. I'm grateful we have the ability to give lecture series, pop-up tours, concert series and seasons. It's a blessing. And again, I'm grateful for you, because Patrick, not only are you a multi-talented artist, an incredible journalist and writer and advocate, but you are also a champion of life and legacy. And without you and your support, so many institutions, so many people's careers wouldn't be where they are today. And we owe you your flowers too. So I'm very grateful for you.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Now you just mentioned support. Now of course, as you know, undertaking such arduous task a week of these huge celebratory events, you've had a lot of support, and I understand that the governor and first lady may be at the celebration. Talk to me about some of the luminaries who may pop in during these celebrations.
Oh, Patrick is letting out secrets. Yes, but we are very glad that those who sit in high places are acknowledging the importance of who Marian Anderson was and how they want to be a part of the moment and encourage others to be supporters too. So, along with the representation of the leadership of our state of Pennsylvania, we'll also have the leadership of our president of the City Council of Philadelphia, Council President Kenyatta Johnson, the office of the mayor of Philadelphia, the Pennsylvania state representatives, Jordan Harris, and those Senator Saval, and those who sit along District 2 to represent us. And then there are others from outside of that district and part of the city and state that want a part of this too. But not only that, there are those from the nation who want to be a part of this moment. And even, Patrick, I must tell you, the President General of the Daughters of the American Revolution National Headquarters will be in attendance for this historic of events. President General Pamela Wright reached out to us when the flood first happened, and she seems to be a president of that organization who's a visionary and recognizes what the organization did in the moment, but also she wants to know that she could not undo what they did, but she can course correct with her leadership for going forward. So in that way, she has been supportive, and we are very thankful for their support. And Marian Anderson showed us what grace and dignity is. And she said, she couldn't hold on to hate because it was too much of a burden for her soul and her heart to bear. Not that she forgot anything, not that you forget, because you never forget it. You always keep it at the front of your mind and know what's what, but you don't hold on to hurt and hate because it deters you from the mission that God has for your life. So we keep wise counsel when we think of Marian Anderson and her life and direction. We've tried to be very thoughtful about this whole planning process, as you know. And what we wanted to do was visit the four pillars of importance in Marian Anderson's life, which was faith, music, family, and history. And we had a beautiful faith tribute service on Sunday that honored the life of Marian Anderson and her mother, the great Anna Rucker Anderson, who was a lifetime member of the Tenley Temple United Methodist Church and a stewardess. That was a beautiful service where the great Reverend Carolyn Cavaness from the presiding over the historic Mother Bethel AME Church brought the good word, turn the page. Turn the page. And when she brought that along, it just set the place on fire. So we were grateful for that. We have been all week long doing things that have been leading up to this moment with the four pillars. The day before, we went and gave a performance and lecture for African American History Month on Marian Anderson's life at the Axe Senior Residence building, where you had a total of you have totals of hundreds of seniors living at the senior living residence, like those and choices places and things like that, and just introducing them to Marian Anderson's life and being a part of some who knew her story, some who didn't, getting into her repertoire and all of that. Such a blessing. And then, we're going to have this official ribbon cutting and reopening ceremony on Saturday. It's just going to be fabulous. Dunkin' Donuts is going to have their truck out on the street. We're blocking off the street. Martin Street is going to be a little bit of a party up in here. And, then on Sunday, we're going to have the official gala where we're going to bring it on home. And I love how we chose the Crystal Tea Ballroom at the historic Wanamaker Building because historically this is where Marian Anderson's mother was the cleaning woman to the Wanamaker Building with the Wanamaker family. for almost 30 years until Marian Anderson could afford to retire her mother out. And Marian Anderson always said that was a blessed day when she was able to pick up the phone and call her mother's manager to say, my mother will not be coming into work anymore. And
Wow.
then when Marian Anderson got back from Europe from her first European educational tour experience in 1932, it was the Wanamaker family, John Wanamaker's son, who threw Marian her first reception returning back to Philadelphia. And it was a grand formal event. We have those original photos. We plan to display them at the gala so we can show that full 365, the full circle moment. And we're so grateful for this opportunity and for people to see it and know that's such a powerful connection, and it's a blessing. And we hope that you will support those who are coming from near and far. We are extremely grateful. We're very blessed to have you. Those who are not able to come, we ask that you support us anyway, because it's just that important. So we hope that that will be the case.
Oh my goodness. And talk about 360, a 360 moment, a full circle. I want to go back because you may have someone on here that may not know the historical importance when you miss it, when you mention the fact that the President General of the Daughters of the American Revolution was going to be in attendance. That's a big deal. And I love the fact that you highlight the fact that no, they can't change the past, but they can move forward. And I think it's so beautiful how they are really supporting the gala and the restoration of the museum. That is so beautiful. Now I want to try. Now, during COVID, we all learned how to share these screens and stuff, but I'm gonna be honest, I still haven't learned. But I want to see, can I share? Um, yeah, I want to see, can I share my screen? Let's see. You all bear with me. To my faithful followers, they know I'm still trying to get this down pat. I need to hire an intern. Let's see. Want to I wanna I want to, let's see, can this work? Will this work now? Oh, let's see. Oh, here it is, right under my nose. Let's see. Uh, uh-oh. Let me, let's see. Jillian, can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. It's just you all bear that I was trying to, it would started sharing and then it started cutting up. Let's see. Oh, there it is. They changed this around on Zoom. Share sound. All right, so let's try this now. Let's see. It's
Genius, genius draws no color line. And so it is fitting that Marian Anderson should raise her voice in tribute to the noble Lincoln whom mankind will ever honor. Miss Marian Anderson.
Oh shucks, it's buffering. Hang on just 1 second. I hope you still can
No
hear me.
problem. Yes.
Oh, good. I don't know. The best laid plans, you try to do this stuff and then it now wants to come up. Let's see, can it
That's
try to stop this share? Oh.
Patrick. Patrick.
Mhm.
Patrick.
Hey there, can you hear me? I'm
I
hope
can. I was going to say we have another cut of that. So if you would like, I can share ours.
okay, hold on for a second. I want to see I'm hoping that we're still streaming because I got booted out. Well, hopefully you were still on the screen. I think.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're still there. To all of my viewers, I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties, but thank you for sticking in with us. So, Jillian, go ahead and share your screen and see what happens.
Okay.
Oh, that was amazing. And
Um,
a few years ago, they did this beautiful Easter Sunday recreation at the Lincoln Memorial, and Denise Graves actually wore one of Marian Anderson's gowns. And if I'm not mistaken, that same gown is in the African American Museum for History and Culture in the exhibit that's dedicated to classical music and opera singers. So since you're in the sharing mood, do you have any photographs that you can share with us, maybe of the museum, so people can get a glimpse of what they're going to be missing by not being in Philadelphia?
oh, mercy. Well, Patrick, you know we are working down to the minute, to the moment of reopening, to the moment. We have our wonderful historical contractors and restorers here with us even right now, and we're working down to the moment. But I want to show you some incredible archival pieces that are of our great lady from Philadelphia. So you can get an idea of where we brought it back to, how she lived in this house and made it so special and such a wonderful, warm, and inviting home, and how you can be a part of that if you will join us on Saturday and Sunday and be a part of something so incredibly special, because Marian Anderson's life wasn't about her in her mind. It was about what her gift brought to others, and how selfless, how incredible, how magnanimous is that to say and feel and be. So I'm going to share some wonderful archival pieces that will definitely be a part of this brand new exhibit, Marian the Philadelphia Story. And we start with this wonderful piece of life, so powerful. Marian Anderson lost her father at age 11 at the historic Reading Terminal when he was working there 4 jobs as a steel worker helping putting the train system together, as a porter working on the train, a coalman, and an iceman. And when they lost him, it was just this dynamic that was left. Her mother, Anna, atop her middle sister, Ethel, and her youngest sister, Elise. And Marian felt that at that point, as the eldest child, she had to become more responsible so she could help her mother take care of the entire family. And you even see that in her eyes as they are posing for this photograph, that she feels responsibility, determination, and strength. And there's so much to say about this daguerreotype photo, and we get into that in the brand new exhibit, and it's just wonderful to feel and explain. And then we talk about the wonderful connections and friendships that Marian Anderson had through her life. One of the greatest connections was that of Duke Ellington. They had such a wonderful and loving friendship um, throughout their lifetime and career, and shared so many things, and including both of them being ambassadors of the Red Cross, and not just a musical ambassadors, though Marian Anderson went on to become a United States ambassador under 2 different sitting presidents, and sitting at the UN representing the United States. It's so amazing to have these beautiful pieces in the collection, these beautiful stories, this wonderful work to talk about these life connections, the letters, the everything. Then you have Marian Anderson at life, living in what we now call Music Room Number 1, which was her living room area and space, where she played all of those incredible records, not only that she recorded, but records of her friends and colleagues. And we were so grateful to get even the lamps restored. Thank you, Chelsea Plating Company, for helping us get that restoration going on those lamps once they were badly damaged from the flood. And all of those wonderful, priceless albums and things that we will be having on display representing her homes. And if you look behind, back in towards the back of that photo, you even see those beautiful lace curtains that Marian Anderson, one of the things she talked about the most was that lace was so expensive, but she and her mother loved lace, and when she could afford it, she got a lot of it. And the house is filled with lace, honey. We had to get that totally restored and repaired, and the lace is going to be hung back up as of today. And we're just incredibly, grateful. God continues to show his mercy and his grace and his favor in spite of the tragedy. So it's a lot of work that has had to go into this and be done. But we are so grateful for that. And something I want to continue to circle back to And that's Marian Anderson as a giver. You see these two lovely ladies in her home here from the YWCA. Philadelphia was the first to have a YWCA in the United States, and it was on 16th and Catherine Street. That's where Marian Anderson first started playing the piano herself on their upright and doing little mini recitals, getting help from the community, from the YWCA, and all of that. And when she could afford it, she began to give back to the YWCA. She wrote them a check twice a year to support them financially. And she mentored young ladies from the neighborhood that were going to the YWCA to let them know that they too could be great. And this picture represents that, with these two lovely young ladies who were members of the YWCA that she had over for tea here at the house. And that's just so wonderful and lovely. And we're so glad that Marian Anderson had such a spirit and a heart that she had. And you know, we're excited. We're ready to go.
That is a beautiful picture.
You could see that we're preparing for this historic reopening and what it is going to be with this brand new exhibit, Marian the Philadelphia Story.
You know what's fascinating to me is the fact that Miss Anderson had so many community connections. And one that I really want to tap in is the fact that she was an honorary member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And then you mentioned earlier on how she, she was in touch with Duke Ellington and had all of these rich connection, just like you, because you're being humble, but you didn't tell the people that when you had the Tinley Temple service in honor of Marian Anderson, that you actually sang as well, and that you are a singer, Jillian.
I am. I began singing at age 3. I became a young Marian Anderson Scholar artist, handpicked by Lady Blanche Burton-Lyles at age 13 and a half at the famed High School for Creative and Performing Arts. And so many of us came from there. And I am just grateful that I've been able to use my gift and share my gift. And I've been able to perform. And I'm at most peace when I'm on stage and I'm performing. That's where my peace is. And I'm blessed because I can do both things, and I can keep promise, and I can still perform. It ain't easy, Patrick. Oh, it ain't easy. But I'm trying anyway, because the music is in me, the performance is in my heart. I dedicated so many years to it and life to it. And I don't know what I would be not being a professional vocalist and stage artist and all. So I'm very grateful that that was the gift that God has given me. And I just want to share it with the world, because life is very short. You only get one opportunity, and you got to use it while you have it. So that's what I'm trying to do until I close my eyes and I rejoin my mother. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, thank you so much. I have definitely enjoyed this time with you. And I just want to reiterate for the viewers and listeners the fact that the Marian Anderson reopening is this Sunday at 4 o'clock in the Crystal Tea Ballroom at the historic Wanamaker Building. I'm so excited that, as one of the honorary chairs, I will be in Philadelphia at the Gala supporting that. And it's such a worthwhile cause. There's a link. If you're on Facebook, there is a link in the chat. So if you feel so moved, even if you can't come, be a person, donate towards the gala in the form of a ticket, or you want to continue to sponsor these activities and the restoration, that link is in the chat. So I hope that you would consider doing that. Jillian, again, it's been an honor speaking with you. Do you have any final words for the listeners?
The final word is Marian Anderson was light. Light in a dark world. Light in a turbulent, terrible time. She was light and she was joy. I hope that we all embrace the light and the joy, and that we use our gift and we use what we have to do something that will uplift and make a difference and a contribution to those around us, our communities, our cultural arts institutions. We see what's going on right now in our nation, in our artistic field and world. And I ask you to please consider supporting our heritage sites, our national historical landmarks, our artists. That is essential, and it's going to be essential going forward in these rough and turbulent times. Support the Marian Anderson Museum and Historical Society. Remember everything that Marian Anderson gave to us. Remember everything that Blanche Henrietta Burton Lyles gave to us. And let us now try to give back to them.
Thank you so much. Again, I am Patrick D. McCoy, and you have been watching Across the Arts. We've been here chatting with President and CEO of the Marian Anderson Museum and Historical Society, Miss Jillian Patricia Pirtle. And I'm again excited that we're going to be on deck on this Sunday for the reopening gala at 4:00 p.m. in the Crystal Tea Ballroom of the Wanamaker Building. I hope that you are so moved to continue to sponsor this event. It's not too late to get tickets. There's a link in the chat. So I hope that you will join us for this momentous occasion. Again, I am Patrick D. McCoy, and you've been watching Across the Arts. Thank you and have a good day.